Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're jumping into a really specific set of neutral colors. The idea is that they're curated to evoke elegance.
That's right. We're working from an article by BrandCanvasStudio. It's called Ultimate Neutral Color Palette for Elegance.
Exactly. And our mission really is to figure out how these colors, which seem quite simple on the surface, actually work together. How do they create that sophisticated, calming vibe they talk about?
It's a specific set, 6 key colors they've picked out.
Okay, let's list them out.
Sure. We've got ivory white. The hex code is hashtag F8, F6, F1. Then there's light mist gray. That's hashtag EE.
Okay.
Sock sand beige at hashtag E3DCCB. Pale blush pink, hashtag F5, E7, E0.
Pink, interesting.
Yeah, very subtle one. Then warm sage green, hashtag D9E1D3. And finally, light stone tap, which is hashtag C5, BFB6.
Just hearing those names, you do start to build a picture, don't you? But this whole concept of an elegant, neutral palette, what does that actually mean? Elegance in color?
That's a great question to start with. I think it's less about flashiness and more about maybe a kind of quiet confidence. Timelessness, maybe.
Yeah, like it doesn't shout, but it feels considered. High quality without being ostentatious.
Exactly. And I suspect it's about how versatile they are. These aren't demanding colors. They create a foundation, right? For branding, interiors, web design, whatever it is.
The elegance comes from the harmony, maybe, how they interact.
That's what the article seems to suggest. It's the blend, the thoughtfulness behind the selection.
Okay, let's dive into the first one then. Ivory white. Hashtag F8, F6, F1. The description calls it soft, creamy.
And they make a point about it offering lightness and warmth without the harshness of a pure white.
I like that distinction. Pure white can be quite stark, almost clinical sometimes. This sounds softer.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And its role seems to be foundational. The article talks about creating an airy, open feeling. It's like the canvas, letting other elements breathe.
Like a gallery wall, you said earlier. Makes sense.
Yeah, or in branding for, say, luxury goods, minimalist styles, places you want to feel calm and sophisticated.
So the key thing here is its versatility as a starting point.
Precisely. It blends in, supports everything else. It's the quiet anchor.
Okay. Next up was light mist gray. Hashtag ED.
Yes. Described as cool and delicate, it's meant to bring tranquility, balance.
Gray can be tricky, though. Sometimes it feels a bit cold.
Well, they specifically mentioned it has just enough warmth to complement the ivory white without feeling sterile. That's a fine line.
It really is. Light mist sounds gentle, though, not like a heavy industrial gray.
Right. And the article emphasizes subtle contrast. It's there, it adds sophistication, but it doesn't dominate.
I can picture that. Walls, maybe textiles, soft furnishings.
Exactly. Places where you want that calm, refined feeling without it being, boring. It works well with the other neutrals.
Oh, it adds a layer of sophistication quietly.
That's the idea. Calm refinement.
All right, moving to soft sand beige. Hashtag E3DCCB. This one just sounds warm, doesn't it?
It does. The article calls it warm, earthy, talks about depth, comfort, stability.
It feels very grounding, like bringing a bit of nature indoors, maybe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And they highlight that it's easy on the eyes. Provides a gentle contrast to the cooler gray, for instance.
I can see that being really popular for homes, living spaces, but also maybe hospitality, hotels, cafes.
The article mentions both residential and commercial, creating that inviting vibe. Even for branding, if you want that grounded, timeless feel, it's got that natural connection.
Yeah, a very welcoming color. Okay, now for the surprise, perhaps pale blush pink. Hashtag F5E7E0.
Yeah. But the key here is pale. The description stresses subtle warmth, a gentle pop of color that doesn't overwhelm.
So it's not like a bright, loud pink. It's restrained.
Very much so. That restraint is key to the elegance, I think. They suggest it creates a soothing, even romantic atmosphere.
Ah, okay, so maybe bedrooms or bridal designs, things like that.
Exactly. Or brands going for a sort of feminine warmth, but still sophisticated. It works subtly against the white or the gray.
Just a hint, a whisper of color. Nice.
And add softness without losing that refined edge.
And then we have warm sage green. Hashtag D9E1D3. Green always feels quite natural.
It does. And this one is specifically described as natural, earthy, calming, grounding. Evokes nature, tranquility.
So less of a vibrant, zingy green and more muted, earthy.
Definitely. The goal seems to be adding freshness without being bold.
Yeah.
Think wellness brands, eco-conscious projects, spas.
Places aiming for serenity. Yeah, I get that. Bringing that organic feeling in.
It adds balance, harmony, that touch of nature. Feels quite calming just thinking about it.
It does. Okay, last one. Light stone taupe. Hashtag C5BFD6. Taupe can be a bit ambiguous sometimes.
It can be, yeah. But this one is pitched as soft, earthy, sophisticated, and versatile. The key phrase seems to be blends seamlessly.
So it's another supporting player, but maybe with a bit more richness than the gray or white.
I think so. It adds subtle richness, depth, but doesn't demand the spotlight. Think minimalist spaces, maybe furniture or accessories.
Or modern branding, high-end products where you want that feeling of quality.
Exactly. It pairs well with both the lighter tones and potentially darker accents if you brought them in. It's about refined simplicity, a timeless feel.
Offers depth, but subtly.
Got it. Okay, so those are the 6 players. How do they work as a team? What's the overall effect when you combine them?
Well, the source article talks about creating a serene, balanced atmosphere. You've got that mix of cool tones like the gray and warmer tones like the beige and the pink.
And the white is the base.
Right. The ivory, gray, beige, and even the sage green create this sort of sophisticated, calm foundation.
And the blush pink.
That's the delicate touch. It adds a hint of warmth, personality, but it's so subtle it doesn't disrupt the overall calm. It's a very, very considered balance.
It really sounds like harmony is the key word. They complement each other rather than competing.
Exactly. It creates what the article calls a timeless and elegant flow. It's cohesive. You don't look at it and pick out one dominant color easily.
Which makes it versatile, right? You mentioned branding, interiors, web.
The article specifically calls those out. The goal seems to be creating designs or spaces that feel warm, tranquil, but also have that sense of understated luxury.
It's a very adaptable approach then, it seems to be. Enduring, not trend chasing.
Okay, so let's quickly recap. We had ivory white, light mist gray, soft sand beige, pale blush pink, warm sage green, and light stone taupe.
6 distinct shades.
Each with its own subtle job, but together they form this toolkit for, well, for elegance, essentially. It really drives home the power of subtlety in design.
It absolutely does. It shows you don't need loud, bold colors to make a strong statement or create a powerful feeling. Sometimes the quietest colors, used thoughtfully, have the biggest impact.
That feeling of refinement, it's all in the nuance.
Precisely. It's not about being boring. It's about being intentional.
It really makes you stop and think, doesn't it? How these choices, which might seem almost basic to some, can completely shape the mood and the perception of a design. Elegance through nuance, not loudness.
And that's maybe something for you listening to think about. How could these ideas about balanced, elegant neutrals apply in your world?
Yeah, maybe you're putting together a presentation or thinking about decorating a room or even just noticing the color palettes around you more.
Which of these combinations resonates most with you? Is it the warmth of the beige and pink, or the coolness of the gray and white, or that touch of green?
Food for thought. And if you do want to dig deeper, the BrandCanvasStudio article mentioned resources like canvaslush.com and their specific Adele branding kit for more ideas. We'll link those up.
Great. It's been fascinating dissecting how these simple shades achieve such a sophisticated result.
It really has. Thanks for exploring this elegant palette with us today.